I've been in some rough situations before, outrunning bounty hunters, sweet-talking loan sharks, and once enduring a malfunctioning escape pod with an irate rodent. But this is a whole new level of bad. I, Phil Paul, interstellar tradesman, read smuggler, am currently locked in a high-security alien prison for a crime I barely committed. And to make matters worse, my cellmate is distracting. She's definitely not human, that much is obvious. Silara's lavender skin shimmers faintly under the dim lights, bioluminescent markings glowing softly across her collarbone. Her golden hair cascades in perfect waves, like something out of an old Earth holovid. Blood-red lips, luminous eyes. She watches me with the kind of curiosity reserved for newly discovered species. "So," she purrs, tilting her head, "you're a human." I drop onto the metal bunk opposite hers, already exhausted. The cold seeps through my jumpsuit, sending a shiver up my spine. "Yeah, last time I checked." Her lips curve into a grin. "Fascinating. I've always wondered, do human males really function without pheromone bonds? Or do you just stumble through attraction like clueless little space deer?" I blink. What?" She leans forward, studying me intently. The air between us fills with the scent of something floral, with a strange electric edge. "Your scent, it's so muted. I can't tell anything. Are you nervous? Intrigued? Already falling hopelessly in love with me?" I rub my temples. "Lady, I just got thrown into a space prison. Forgive me if I'm not in the mood for—" Before I can finish, she reaches out and grabs my arm. Her fingers are cool and smooth against my skin, and her eyes widen in delight. "Oh, you're so warm." I jerk my arm back. "You don't just grab people." Silara only laughs, completely unfazed. "I like you, Jack. You're so flustered." I groan and flop onto my bunk, staring at the dull metal ceiling. This is going to be a long sentence. She stretches like a cat, her movements languid and deliberate. "Could be worse," she muses. "I could have been locked in with a Xylarian. They shed scales everywhere." "How comforting," I mutter. Silara just grins. Later, she finally stops teasing long enough to share her escape plan. Turns out she was already working on one before I was thrown in here. "You're lucky you got me as a cellmate," she boasts, lounging on her bed like a queen. "I was already halfway out before they caught me last time." "Wait, last time?" She smirks, the glow of her markings pulsing with amusement. "They keep underestimating me." With a practiced motion, she pulls up a loose panel in the wall, revealing a cramped ventilation shaft lined with unfamiliar alien tech. I've been widening this for weeks. We squeeze through, drop into the maintenance tunnels, then swipe a guard's keycard. Easy. Right, because nothing ever goes wrong with escape plans. Silara winks, flipping a golden curl over her shoulder. "I like a man with optimism." We wait for lights out, the prison settling into eerie silence, then slip into the vent. The metal is cold beneath my hands as I pull myself forward, the space barely large enough for me. Silara moves ahead of me with effortless grace, her lithe form twisting through the narrow passage. Her scent lingers, spiced, slightly sweet, entirely alien. "You know," she whispers over her shoulder, "for someone who claims to be an experienced rogue, you're not very quiet." "Excuse me," I grunt, wincing as my elbow scrapes a jagged edge. "Not all of us are built like contortionist supermodels." She giggles. "I am rather impressive, aren't I?" At the end of the shaft, Silara pries open a loose panel, revealing the dimly lit maintenance corridor beyond. The overhead lights flicker, casting eerie shadows. She listens, her bioluminescent markings dimming slightly as she focuses. "All clear," she whispers, slipping out first. I follow, rolling my shoulders, savoring the open space after the cramped vent. Solara doesn't waste time. She strides toward the nearest security panel, pulling a slim tool from her sleeve. Its sharp tip glows faintly as she begins overriding the locks. "How do you even know how to do this?" I ask, watching her fingers move with practiced ease. She flashes me a smirk. "Oh, Jack, there's so much you don't know about me." Before I can press her, the alarms blare. Red warning lights pulse, bathing the hallway in a crimson glow. My stomach drops. "Tell me that was part of the plan," Solara curses, spinning toward me. "They must have changed the security cycle early. We need to move. Now." We bolt down the corridor, boots pounding against metal. The distant hum of security drones grows louder, closing in fast. Suddenly, Solara grabs my wrist and yanks me into a side alcove, pressing me against the wall. Her body is flush against mine, warm, electric. Her breath ghosts over my cheek. "Hold still," she whispers. I barely have time to react before she tilts her head, lips brushing against mine in a feather-light tease. My pulse hammers. Every nerve in my body is suddenly hyper-aware of her. The press of her curves, the intoxicating scent of her skin, the heat rolling off her. "What?" I start, but she silences me with a deep, deliberate kiss. It's not just for show. There's something real in the way her lips move against mine, something beyond a simple distraction. Her fingers skim up my arm, leaving trails of heat in their wake. Instinct takes over. I pull her closer, losing myself in the sensation, in the way she melts into me with a quiet hum of approval. For a moment, the alarms, the danger, the entire galaxy ceases to exist. There is only her. Then, just as suddenly, Solara pulls back, golden eyes flashing with mischief. She licks her lips as if savoring the moment. "You taste interesting," she muses. I blink, still struggling to form words. Was that part of the plan?" She grins. "Not exactly, but I've been wanting to do that." I exhale a shaky breath, my thoughts still scrambled. "You are dangerous." "Flattering." She grabs my hand. "Now come on, darling. Time to run." We take off again, weaving through the corridors as the warden's voice booms through the speakers, demanding all prisoners return to their cells. We're nearly at the final checkpoint when a massive figure steps into our path. The warden, a towering brute of an alien with too many eyes and even more muscle. Solara skids to a stop. "Ah, well, this is inconvenient." "Inconvenient?" I hiss. "He's blocking the only way out." She sighs dramatically. "Looks like we'll have to retreat." I glance back. Security drones are closing in fast. "And exactly where are we retreating to?" She grins. "Guess." Before I can argue, she yanks me toward a side corridor, the one leading back to our cell. The escape attempt is over. For now. Back in our cell. The door slams shut behind us, locking with a finality that makes my stomach twist. I collapse onto the bunk, dragging a hand through my hair. That was a disaster. We had been so close, seconds away from freedom. And now, right back where we started. Solara hums, stretching lazily before flopping onto the bed beside me. "It was fun." I turn my head to glare at her. "We almost got caught." She shrugs, completely unconcerned. "We'll try again. I have a new plan." I groan. "Of course you do." A beat of silence. Then she shifts closer, her fingers trailing absently down my arm. A shiver runs through me. "You know," she murmurs, "I really did want to kiss you." I exhale slowly, her lips still vivid in my mind. "Yeah?" She nods, glowing eyes locked onto mine. "Yeah." I don't think. I just move. This time I kiss her, deeper, slower. She responds instantly, fingers tangling in my hair, pulling me closer. The urgency from before is gone, replaced by something softer, something real. I lose myself in her, in the warmth of her body. the way she sighs when I trail kisses down the curve of her throat. The night stretches on, filled with whispered words and slow, deliberate touches. It's not hurried, not reckless like our escape. It's something else. And when she finally rests her head against my chest, breathing slow and steady, a realization creeps in, quiet, insidious, undeniable. I don't want to escape alone. I want her with me, and that might be the most dangerous part of all. The thought unsettles me. I've always worked alone, relied on myself, but now the idea of slipping through the stars without Solara at my side feels wrong, dangerous in a way I never expected. Morning comes, and we go over last night's events. Solara just smiles, that infuriating, knowing smile that tells me she's always 5 steps ahead. It was a necessary setback, Jack. The plan is still in motion, and now we know what we're dealing with. I let out a frustrated sigh. Yeah, well, it's a hell of a plan. She grins. You'll see. I don't know if I'm supposed to trust her or be worried. Being around Solara feels like playing 3-dimensional chess against someone who already knows all the moves, and I'm just here for the ride. Part of me wants to tell her to slow down, to stop treating everything like a game, but the truth is, her chaos works. Somehow, it always works. That night, when the lights dim and the prison hums with its usual mechanical rhythm, Solara leans over and lifts the same loose panel in the wall. This time, the teasing glint in her eyes is gone. We do it my way this time, she says, voice low and serious. No distractions. I raise an eyebrow. What, no flirting this time? She glances at me, amusement flickering in her expression before something deeper takes its place. Focus, Jack. We have one shot. I don't argue. This is the real deal now. She leads me through the vent again, but this time her movements are sharper, more controlled. There's no playful banter, no unnecessary flourishes, just purpose. I follow, heart hammering as the muffled sounds of the prison's night cycle hum beneath us. This is where the patrols change routes, she whispers, squeezing through a narrow gap. We have to time this perfectly. One wrong move, and we're back in the cell, or worse. We emerge into the maintenance tunnels. The air is thick with the scent of grease and old machinery, the low buzz of unseen equipment filling the silence between us. Solara gestures for me to stick close as she glides from shadow to shadow, moving with an effortless grace that makes me wonder how much of her past she's actually told me. I thought you were just digging holes in the wall, I mutter as we pause behind a rusted panel. She smirks, barely sparing me a glance. The shaft was just the start. I've been planning this escape for months. I know this place better than I know my own ship. I'm starting to believe her. We press on, moving swiftly through the tunnels. As we near a maintenance door leading to the outside, Solara suddenly halts and signals for me to stop. I crouch low, straining to hear beyond the metal barrier. Okay, she whispers. This is the critical part. There's a guard just beyond this door. I'll handle it. You just make sure no one else gets in our way. I frown. Handle it? How exactly? She looks at me, and there's that familiar, mischievous glint in her eyes. You just stay close. I'm going to do what I do best. Before I can ask what that means, she's already moving. Pressing her back against the cool metal, she peers around the corner with sharp, assessing eyes. I follow her lead, but I have a sinking feeling that whatever's about to happen is going to be another one of Solara's unpredictable, chaotic solutions. And then, just like before, she does something that completely defies my expectations. She steps into full view, flipping her hair back with calculated ease, and the entire atmosphere of the tunnel shifts. Her bioluminescent markings pulse in a slow, hypnotic rhythm, casting a soft glow over her skin. It's mesmerizing. It's deliberate, and I can already see the guard faltering, his attention locked on her. "Hey, big guy," she coos, her voice smooth as velvet as she takes slow, measured steps forward. "Is that really what you wear on patrol? You should let me help you out of it." The guard stops dead, and I hear the faint whir of his sensors recalibrating as he struggles to process the shift in his programming. His mechanical gaze tracks Celara's every movement, locked onto her like she's the only thing in the room. Her expression is playful, but there's something more dangerous beneath the surface, something sharp, calculated. "Your security settings seem a little off, don't you think?" she murmurs, tilting her head. I blink. Is she distracting him? Oh, I am in so much trouble.